Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flies, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
It's 3 places that you can stay for absolutely free. 3 of them. You ain't got to play a doggone thing. Hear me. Understand that you can stay out my face for free. You can stay out my business for free. And you can stay out my way for free. Those things won't cost you a doggone thing. 3 places you can stay for absolutely free. Thank you. To hear this, but let me put this out here. Stop sparing folks. Hello, somebody. Stop sparing folks. Nobody cared when your feelings was hurt. Nobody cared when you was pacing the floor. Nobody cared when you was sliding down the wall. Nobody cared when you was standing over there with a face full of tears. You had to suck it up, buttercup. But then when it come to other folk feelings, here you are, want to tiptoe around it, want to avoid the elephant in the room. I don't want to upset anybody. I don't want to disturb the peace. Stop sparing folk. Ain't nobody spare you when it was your turn. Give it to them real. Give it to them raw. Give it to them uncut and uncensored. This is exactly what it is. This way you had me messed up at. Yeah. I ain't playing with nobody this season, baby.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
Well, happy Thanksgiving all. I hope you guys are having a wonderful morning so far. I was going to come earlier, but you know what? I was a little lazy, right? Because I had Thanksgiving last night. It turned out amazing. And as I told you once before, the bird cooking upside down, I'm telling you, I don't know what to say. So happy Thanksgiving, everyone. I was actually going to come, a little, not my eyes and everything. And then I was like, if I don't get up and I don't put my face on, I don't start my day. Got to have a cup of coffee. I don't know how many people need a cup of coffee. How many people, happy Thanksgiving, everyone. I see you guys. I'm glad you guys got here early. You guys got to chat with me just a little bit. That is a true statement. Thank you, Trust Your Gut. I appreciate that. Yeah, absolutely. We have a lot to be thankful for, not just in the Quentin Simon case, but also the Harmony Montgomery case as well. And so, there's a lot to be thankful for this year. A lot of stuff came out over the last, 30, 45 days on some cases that we've been covering. And then of course, there's a lot of pain that also comes with this time of year. There was the shooting in Virginia at the Walmart. There was the Idaho 4 slain in their sleep just on the outskirts of their university. So there's a lot of pain this time of year. There are a few families across this country that just can't even muster the energy to get up and be thankful for anything because they're in so much pain and agony. So we want to pray and uplift those people. But for everybody else, happy Thanksgiving. What else do we got going on here? I'm going to open up the panel fairly early on in this because really, to be honest with you, this is for all of us, for those that want to, talk and chat. We'll talk and chat about anything. You don't want to talk about a case? We don't have to talk about a case. We can talk about makeup tips. We can talk about turkey. We can talk about stuffing recipes. This year, I have to tell you, this is the first year I cheated on the stuffing. But the stuffing tastes good. That box stuffing, I don't know what they put in it, but it's pretty darn good. But every year, I always make a authentic cornbread stuffing. But usually I'm going to a party or I'm having a lot of people here. The recipe that I have is a pretty large one. Obviously, it's too big just for me. I don't know how to say it, but I enjoyed it. And of course, I bought the biggest pumpkin pie they had, but only one slice has been eaten out of it, right? I should have went for the smaller one. I mean, it is just me. So, but it was good. I had a nice, I didn't even share with my neighbor. I'm a horrible neighbor. I did ask him earlier if he wanted. I told him I was cooking Thanksgiving yesterday, when I saw him yesterday, and he's like, I'm doing the same thing. So he had a ham anyway. So it's not like, he was starving. He was doing the same thing I was doing. I don't know why, but he was. Hello, Facebook user. Nice to see you. Happy Thanksgiving. I'm not sure who you are, but this is a shout out to you. What else do we have here? Let me get down to the bottom. Happy Thanksgiving. Yes. I don't even know what we're going to do today, to be honest with you. I really don't. I don't really have an agenda. I mean, we do have the press conference that we're going to watch and go over here in just a second on the Idaho 4. But and I'm just going to open it up. I want to hear what you guys are doing for Thanksgiving, what your plans are. Just kind of get off topic just a little bit to do that. So before we do, I want to go ahead and play this press conference and just have a discussion, and then we can get on with our Thanksgiving Day event, right? There's not a whole lot going on. I know you guys have a lot more going on today than I do because I decided to cheat and have Thanksgiving yesterday. I'm bad. What can I say? I know many of you guys have already watched this because we're stuck like glued to the TV over this because there's so many possibilities with this case. You know, a lot of people are touting the serial killer. A lot of people are touting an ex-boyfriend and an estranged lover, you know, passion killing. So we really don't know what is going on. We know that they're asking people to. What am I listening to? Can't tell what that noise is. I just heard a noise come on and it just went off. Anyways, let me just play this.
Good afternoon. My name is Chief James Fry with the Mascow Police Department. Joining me today is Captain Roger Lanier with the Mascow Police Department, Mascow Deputy City Supervisor Tyler Palmer, Colonel Kedrick Wills of the Idaho State Police, University of Idaho President Scott Green, University of Idaho Dean of Students Lane Eccles, and Latah County Prosecutor Bill Thompson. We are thankful for all the tips and leads the public has provided in Ethan, Xana, Kaylee, and Madison's murder investigation. No bit of information is too small, and every tip will be pursued. So far, this information has helped investigators build a picture of the areas of interest and the relationships these four had with each other and our community. We still believe there's more information to be gathered, which will continue creating a window through which we view this case. We all want to understand why this happened and what drove someone to do this. The families of those involved and our entire community deserve to know. We ask anyone with any information related to what happened with these four who are in our community, their interaction with others, and whether they expressed concern or commented about someone or something strange to get that information to us.
So as you can hear from him, they are actually looking for anybody that has information, if they knew these people, one or four, and if there were any concerns or comments made about someone or something strange. I thought that was pretty interesting. And I wonder why he asked that. Because usually when they ask stuff, they already know the answer to be honest with you. And they're just looking for the evidence to prove it. And I'm wondering if that is this case. Is that giving us, a clue as to who it may be? It might be. It very well. It could be another college student. And if so, why? So I just thought that to be interesting. And it also could be because, they are looking into the allegations of Kaylee having a stalker. But according to them, the last report that I heard, we'll check the PR page and see if there's anything new coming out. But they are taking that seriously. They just haven't found anything that corroborates that statement in the least at this moment, or the last time I heard. So this could be just to look into that or hone into that portion of the investigation a little further as well. We'll see.
Even if you don't believe it is relevant, investigators will review and determine if and how your information builds the picture. Sometimes what a video or picture doesn't show is equally as important as what might be there.
I thought that to be interesting too, because they're asking for still videos and photos, and they're basically saying, to the people, don't worry about, if it looks normal, because in the grand scheme of things, they may need to be, this may go to some corroborating somebody's statement or their alibi. And maybe they're saying that they're somewhere, they're turning photos and videos in and realizing this person isn't there. And could that be the reason why he says that what the video or picture doesn't show is equally as important as what it does? I thought that to be interesting as well.
Information on how to submit tips and updates on the investigation can be found on the Mascow Police Department webpage. We continue moving forward to understand why this occurred in our community and seek answers.
So I'm just going to stop there for just a second. Oh, sorry. It just popped up on me because Renee is actually asking questions. This is what I was talking about several days ago. If you guys recall, when we were covering this case, I think it was on the 20th, maybe the 21st, I was telling the audience, I think, because everybody was looking at Kaylee and everybody was looking at Ethan or Zaina, but nobody was really looking at Maddie. And I had brought that up on this channel specifically that, you know, I have a funny feeling the target was Maddie. And here's other reasons I'm coming to that conclusion. It's because, think about it, nobody's talking about her. We haven't heard from Jake. Many people are confusing Jake with Jack. What's the other thing? We haven't heard, Kaylee's mom and dad came right out to the public to dispel any rumors that it could possibly be Jack. They stood up in solidarity with Jack. You're not getting that from Maddie's side of the family. We've heard from several families of the victims. We've heard from Ethan's family. We've heard from Kaylee's family. I'm not sure if we've heard from Xana's family and I know we haven't really heard from anybody in Maddie's family. And it's just really, really quiet, for that side. And I don't know if the quietness is actually the distraction. We'll make so much noise over here, so we distract from over here. But yeah, Renee, that is very valid because Jake hasn't been cleared. Everybody keeps confusing Jake with Jack. Jack is Kaylee's boyfriend. He has been cleared. Jack is the one, which is Kaylee's boyfriend, and they're the ones that he was the one that was called 10 times that morning before they met their demise. But we haven't heard anything about where was Jake. I saw that there was something. Hold on 1 second. Let me see. Yes, I want to know where was Jake. Yes. What is this thing? There is a new information about money being sent that night. Interesting. And Caroline, can you explain where? Like, where was that sent? Because I'm interested. I want to see where that statement came from. Who, if it was a friend, because a lot of people don't realize that in some of these chats you have trolls. They look like they may pull a photo of one of their friends and set up an account and stuff like that, and be acting like they are part of the family, and they go into chat rooms, and it's just it's messy. So that's why it's not that I don't like believing anything. It's just I like to see where it came from so it can be vetted to be accurate, especially if it hasn't come from law enforcement. But we will be checking the website and see if there's any recent press releases sent related to this since this press conference here.
To bring justice for the victims and their loved ones, because they deserve it. I personally want you to know we care, and we will continue to work hard to get these answers for these individuals. At this time, I'd like to introduce Captain Roger Lanier for an update on what we can currently share about this investigation.
I covered that the other day, but yes, we will show that again, Amy. We will show that again. You guys need to listen to this guy. He's the one that gives all the good
afternoon.
stuff.
I'm Captain Roger Lanier with the Mascow Police Department. I want to assure you, first off, that the loss of Xana, Kaylee, Madison, and Ethan remains the highest priority for the Mascow Police Department. We will continue putting all of our resources into investigating and solving these murders. Investigators are prepared to work through the Thanksgiving holiday to continue their efforts.
I just want to let you know, this is refreshing, from Chatham County, where they're taking every single weekend off and all this other stuff. I mean, this is a high profile case, and law enforcement, it's sad that they're sacrificing time with their family because there's a despicable person on the streets of Idaho or a neighboring state. But at the end of the day, they are stepping up to the calling and doing their job as dutifully as possibly. And I just, thank them. God bless law enforcement like this. God bless them.
I also want to express our sincere appreciation to the Idaho State Police, the FBI, University of Idaho, and the Latah County Sheriff's Office for their assistance. And I especially want to thank the community of Mascow for their outpouring of support through this incredibly difficult time. Today I'm going to recap in brief what we know. I'm going to provide some new information, and I'm going to address some rumors. On the evening of November 12th and into the early morning hours of November 13th, Kaylee and Madison arrived home at approximately 1:45 a.m. after visiting a local bar and a street food vendor. Ethan and Xana were also out in the community at Sigma Chi, and they arrived home at approximately 1:45 a.m. Two surviving roommates who were also out in the community arrived home at approximately 1 a.m. Later, on the morning of November 13th, at 11:58 a.m., a 911 call was placed. The call reported an unconscious person. The call originated from inside the residence, and a surviving roommate's cell phone was used. During that call, the dispatcher spoke to multiple people who.
So just to let you guys know, we did hear about these multiple people inside the residence. I believe they did a press release on the 21st or 22nd related to that, the additional people, because we did learn that there was more than just the two roommates, arriving at that property when law enforcement was showing up. And it was not, it's starting to become clear that although the surviving roommate's phone was used to call 911, it wasn't the roommate that made that call. And they spoke to multiple people at that residence, dispatch did, and that's what he's covering right now. So I'm going to rewind just a little bit so you can hear it again.
During that call, the dispatcher spoke to multiple people who were on scene. Mascow police officers responded and found two victims.
Oh,
two
thank you, Grandma.
And two on the third floor of 1122 King Road. The results of autopsies indicated that the four were stabbed multiple times and were likely asleep during the attack. Some had defensive wounds, and there was no sign of sexual assault. We do not believe the following individuals were involved: the two surviving roommates, the male seen in a grub truck video circulating on the internet, a private party who drove Kaylee and Madison home, any of the individuals who spoke to the dispatcher on the 911 call. We're also aware of a male whom Madison and Kaylee had called several times the morning of November 13th, and we do not suspect that individual.
That
detectives have canvassed neighborhoods looking for.
Let's go back to that
individual.
That was what made us listen to that one more time, because that is Jack, who he is referring to as the girls that spoke to the male individual are called the male individual. They never got a hold of him. That is referring to Jack, not Jake.
Several times the morning of the dispatcher on the 911 call. We're also aware of a male whom Madison and Kaylee had called several times the morning of November 13th. We do not suspect that individual.
What he's referring to there is Jack. Maddie was dating a guy by the name of Jake, and I have not heard his name come up. I have not heard that he was cleared. I haven't heard anything about him or really anybody in and around Maddie specifically. Brenda, the Alberta Queen. Good morning, Betty. Happy Thanksgiving. Much respect. Oh, thank you. Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you so much. God bless you. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family as well. I cheated and I did Thanksgiving yesterday by myself, but it was good. I mean, I still have a whole entire bird to eat, but I don't, like I made a small portion of, the not mac and cheese, but mashed potatoes, stuffing, and the green bean casserole. I made it, one person. Well, I guess it's multiple because I got to eat anyways, long story short, but God bless you. Thank you and happy Thanksgiving.
Detectives have canvassed the neighborhoods looking for evidence, physical evidence, video surveillance, and they've contacted numerous residents to see if anybody may have seen or heard anything. They continue requesting tips. They can be sent to our tip line or called in to our tip line. The specific areas that we're interested in are detailed on maps on our city website and our Facebook page.
By the way, these maps, I still think that there is something in these maps. There's a reason why they're honing in on, 4 specific areas. And I don't know. I mean, because we're not there, we're not getting the inside scoop. We don't know who is in and around these people. It's just, but they're honing in on something and it's hard to decipher what. And it's hard to decipher who they're eyeballing, but they're eyeballing somebody. I just got that feeling.
But as stated earlier, generally south of Taylor Avenue to Palouse River Drive and the area west of US 95 over to the Arboretum. We have heard mention that Kaylee stated she may have had a stalker. Detectives have been looking into that, and to this point have been unable to corroborate the statement, although we continue to seek information and tips regarding that report. No suspects have been named or arrested, and we continue looking for what we believe to be a fixed blade knife used in the murder.
Somebody said, let me pull this back here, and we're going to dive into that a little bit deeper, but somebody brought up something at the press conference they did on the 21st. And it kind of made my hair stand up. And it was them saying that because of the knife, have they looked into anybody that was in the ROTC program? I know of ROTC programs, in high schools. I have never considered an ROTC program at a university for whatever reason. Could that be a clue? They wouldn't answer it. I don't know.
We have not released the names of any of the subjects who spoke on the 911 call, and we have not released the call itself. Any online reports of the victims being tied and gagged are not accurate. Regarding the resources that we've put forth in this investigation, Mascow Police Department has 4 detectives, 24 patrol officers, and 5 support staff dedicated to this investigation. The FBI has 22 investigators in Mascow and 20 additional agents assigned in various locations, as well as 2 members of the Behavioral Analysis Unit. The Idaho State Police has 20 investigators, a public information team, a forensic services and crime scene team, and 15 uniformed troopers who have been valuable in helping provide community patrols and safety patrols. We very much appreciate their support. This is our highest priority. It will remain our highest priority. We owe that to the families. At this time, I would like to introduce Colonel Kedrick Wills from the Idaho State Police.
This is going to be interesting because I did, let me turn back to my notes on here. I want you guys to pay attention. You know, the first press conference on the 21st, I said, you know, he was just basically saying, you know, we need to be patient with the, you know, it wasn't really anything. I mean, it's the stuff that the community needs to hear for the purposes of us analyzing it and discussing it. I just moved past him talking on the 21st because it was really just basically telling everybody to please be patient, yada, 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 yada. And this time, this particular press conference, he gives us some, what I think is some pretty impressive stats. So I want you guys to listen and we're going to talk about it. It says the guy's ROT is definitely, hold on here, at universities across the country. Okay. Oh, okay. Gotcha. See, I didn't know. I always just assumed that when you went to high school and you were in your ROTC program that you moved to a military academy or something for college because, you know, when they were giving out scholarships for my sister, I remember that some had military scholarships and for the, you know, to go to those military colleges. I had no earthly idea that they went to universities. Just ignorance, you know, just ignorance on the program. I just was none the wiser. So, but that, I thought that was pretty interesting. I never knew that. I would have never asked that question because I never knew that. And Kimmy says, per Google, there are more than 1,700 colleges and universities across the U.S. that offer an ROTC program. Well, now we know. So that is a possibility. Did any of them date somebody that was in the ROTC program? Did any of them piss anybody off that was in the ROTC program? Are we doing good on here? Because I'm getting the connection instability and it keeps popping back and forth. Can somebody tell me, am I blurry or anything? Is something going on here? Because if so, I can turn my hotspot on. Do a turkey dance on the like button. Grandma funny. I love that. That's cute. That's cute. Let me look on my phone. Am I blurry? Because I got it on slow. I got it on slow chat. So I'm sure you're good on my end. Okay, perfect. Then I'll just keep rolling. It's showing me that I've got internet instability, but that's okay. Anyways, let's get back to this. I want you guys to pay attention to his stats. We're going to talk about them. I'm going to pause that in just a little bit. Okay, awesome. And then we'll get back to it. Oops, wrong one.
Thank you, Captain, and thank you for those that are in attendance today for your attendance. We really appreciate this. What has affected Mascow and the community here has affected all of us as Idahoans. We have a way in Idaho that the communities come together in tough times, and this is one of those tough times. Leads from the community are important, and as the captain spoke, no tip is too small, and we would urge anybody that has any information whatsoever to please provide that to help us solve this case. The lead agency of this case is...
Guys, give me just a second. I'm just going to refresh, and I'll have to pop back in here. Give me just a second. All right, give me just a second. All right.
Mascow Police Department with Chief Fry and his dedicated team of professionals, and the Idaho State Police's role is to support them and their good work here. There is an awful lot of efforts going on behind the scenes. Yeah, it's still popping in and out. I don't know what's going on with my internet, guys. It might just be because it's Thanksgiving and everybody's on the internet. I don't know, but hopefully it doesn't lag too much. If it does, we'll just have to work through it. It's glitching now. Okay, well, we'll just have to work through it, folks. We'll have to work through it. why it's behind the scenes in just a moment. But what can't be seen isn't always known of what we do in law enforcement. And I'd like to explain that in just a moment. But the Idaho State Police and the FBI continue to provide resources to this investigation. I would like to speak for just a moment, if I could, not about this specific case, but rather an overview of how cases are investigated, so that maybe it'll give some sense of the why of the timeline here. We understand you want answers. We want answers too. But these take time, and if I could explain just a minute about the process here of what we go through just generally in investigations. So we use in advanced investigative techniques and crime scene processing. So what happens when a call comes in, the original officers, the first officers that respond to a scene, and then once that they've got their work there and determined that they need some additional investigative assistance, then they call investigators to come and help process that scene. And oftentimes it requires a forensics team to help process that scene. And when I say process the scene, what we're looking...
See, like I told you, he's giving a lot of details, and it's very interesting stuff, too. So pay attention if you guys haven't heard this or you weren't paying attention yesterday.
We're looking for any evidence that may help us to be able to find the people or person responsible for what we're seeing. And so we're collecting biological evidence. We're collecting latent evidence, whether it's shoe prints or tire marks or anything like that. We're trying to collect that evidence. We're trying to correct. We do that through photographs. We do that through 3D mapping to be able to map the scene. We identify and we mark evidence, and then we collect that evidence. And then we look for any evidence that we think may be helpful. And once that is done, then we package all that evidence up and we send it off to forensics laboratories to be analyzed to see if it can help provide clues of what's happening. All of this takes an immense amount of time. The reason this is important to understand is because it's important that while this is such a tragic circumstance that we find ourselves in law enforcement, we believe we owe this to the surviving families to get this right. And so we're not willing to sacrifice speed for quality. We do testing for blood. We do latent print processing, any documentations for anything at the scene so that we can reconstruct that scene at a later date. If I could share just a few statistics of this particular crime scene.
Listen, guys, listen. This is pretty extensive. This is pretty extensive.
This crime scene, we collected 103 pieces of individual evidence.
103 pieces of individual evidence. That is a massive amount of evidence from a crime scene. This is good news. When I heard that number, I'm thinking this is good. They're probably going to get something that is conclusive and that will help in this case. We know this case was done very sloppily. So you're talking about somebody that most likely, in my opinion, hasn't done this before. But again, that's just my opinion. But 103 pieces of individual evidence collected from the crime scene. That's really, really good. That's really, really good.
We took approximately 4,000 photographs. We've conducted multiple 3D scans of the residence.
I don't know if you guys have seen these 3D scans, but what the beauty of 3D scans, if you've never seen them, they almost, they don't touch anything. When those scans go in there, they literally get the inside and outside of the home in such a way that it almost preserves the crime scene for the foreseeable future. If they forget something, that they can go back and look at those 3D scans and find out if something was there, if something wasn't there, if they forgot to take a photo of a certain angle. With 4,000 photos and multiple 3D scans, they are really preserving this crime scene and the evidence. If you guys haven't seen those 3D scans, they are impressive. There's a lot of the first 48 hours that they show you those 3D scans. And I can't remember which department did. Not all police departments have. I mean, maybe they do now, but years ago, not all police departments had the 3D cameras and scanning capabilities. Only certain departments did. And again, very impressive. And that was many years ago. So I can't imagine what that technology looks like today. I really can't.
And we have hundreds of hours used by technicians and investigators, including our forensics team and detectives from multiple agencies. We've processed over 1,000 total tips and conducted 150 interviews. I hope that you understand that gives a little bit of a perception of just how complex this case is. We have the utmost confidence in this investigation and that this investigation will be done right. We ask you and we ask the public to please remain patient as this investigation unfolds. And please rely on official sources of information. We really appreciate the media's assistance. We know you have a job to do. We know that you're professionals and you do it to the best of your ability. And we're thankful that you're here, because without you, we could not get the correct information to the community.
It seems to me, and this is just my, just not really knowing the dynamic between law enforcement and their media out there. It seems like media is pushing them in this area of Idaho, because he's speaking directly with the media at this point, saying, I know you guys want to know what's going on. I know you need to know you're doing your job well, but I just need you to be patient. And it seems to me, this was what we were missing in Chatham County with Leilani, was the media, doing their job and doing their job well. This is kind of what I expect for media to be doing, pushing, trying to find out what's going on, holding law enforcement and all these records, accountable. Give us the records, the ones that, there is an investigation here, and there are some records that are just not available because of the implications or information. And we understand that. And people that are in the media, that cover true crime, that cover, cases in a journalistic aspect, understand that we can only get so much, but we have to ask. And he's speaking directly to them, saying to please be patient. And it's just refreshing to hear that media is actually pushing their community, the community, the people in their community that run their community accountable, and to be transparent.
Can help us solve this. So I can't overemphasize how much I appreciate and we appreciate in law enforcement your willingness to do this. What you are doing matters. And it matters in what we are committed to doing, and that is the best way we can think of to honor these victims and their families is to conduct this investigation correctly. Finally, I'd like to share that I've been in regular contact with Idaho's Governor Brad Little throughout this investigation. Governor Little is making available up to $1 million for expenses related to this ongoing investigation. As you heard, the resources that are here in Mascow and throughout with this investigation, you can see that those expenses would add up quickly. Like all Idahoans, Governor Little is deeply saddened by the loss of these 4 bright and promising young lives.
Guys, don't forget to go out there and like this segment. We're doing just a Thanksgiving Day special, but we're just going to cover the press conference. And then I'll be opening up the chat for those that just want to chat. So the panel for the people that just want to chat. So if you guys would like to chat, please don't go out, or please don't forget to go out there and like this as you are coming in. We're just going to go over this, and then we're going to discuss a few things.
And he's making sure the state of Idaho provides all of the resources possible to ensure that the person or persons responsible for this are brought to justice. And now I can turn the time over to the University of Idaho President, Scott Green.
I don't really, I hope you guys don't mind. It's not that I don't think that the people at the universities what they're saying is it important? It is important, but I'm just going to go jump over to the Q&A because I really feel like the people at the university are really talking to their students as opposed to someone like me. We know that there's going to be continued um, security from the state that's going to be out there in force even after they come back from Thanksgiving break. So I don't know when that's going to relax, but for the foreseeable future, they're going to be heavily seen on the university. So I don't really need to hear from the university people, but we are going to go to the Q&A because I find that we get a lot of great information from the Q&A as to what law enforcement is willing to answer and what they are unwilling to answer. Sometimes, again, going back to that whole photo and video thing, sometimes what's not in that video or photo is just equally as important as what is in it. And I equate that to the Q&A, what they're willing to answer and what they're unwilling to answer. I feel that that's equally important. And sometimes people feel that there's nothing good or nothing related to these press conferences, or there wasn't really a lot of information derived out of it. I always beg to differ. I don't know. When I listen to these, I always pull something new out that I didn't know before. That's helping, kind of put this whole scenario into focus. And I don't know. So let's listen. Let me get to that part. Okay, we are through. Looks like, okay, we're almost through that. And then we're going to go to the Q&A.
To open it up to any questions, but I would like to ask if there's an Argonaut reporter here that would like to ask. And then second after that, an Evergreen reporter, if there's one in the room. So let's start with the Argonaut, please.
James Tormund Aldrich with the Argonaut. I have two questions, if that's all right. Firstly, being what the police presence is going to look like after Thanksgiving break and how long that's going to last.
So I'll go ahead and answer. Police presence is going to be very heavy after the break. We have Idaho State Patrol that will also still be in the area, and you'll see a high impact of patrol officers and troopers, as well as Latah County Sheriff's Department personnel in the area.
And then secondly, will there be any possibility of the release of the 911 phone call, even in transcript form?
Not at this time. That's part of our investigation.
So it doesn't seem like they're going to be releasing that 911 call in the foreseeable future. That is, whatever is on that phone, they do not want out. And I can't imagine it's just somebody being frantic. I don't know why, but is something of evidentiary value in that 911 call? We don't know, but they are guarding it heavily.
Frankie Beer, the Daily Evergreen. I guess the Mascow PD press release mentioned looking into hundreds of pieces of information about Kaylee's potential stalker. I was wondering what led you to believe she did have a stalker possibly, and why those pieces of information haven't come up with conclusive results.
I'm actually going to let Captain Lanier answer this question, okay?
That was a good question.
Thank you, Chief. We obtained information through some of our interviews that Kaylee had made some comments about a stalker, so that's where that came from.
So they're saying that there are some people that they interviewed as part of the process of this crime, and through those interview processes, it sounds like more than one person spoke of this stalker. Let's listen to his language again and see if it was more than one person or one person that brought that up. And it sounds like it might have been more than one person.
Chief. We obtained information through some of our interviews that Kaylee had made some.
Yeah, interviews. So that was plural.
comments about a stalker. So that's where that came from. We have followed up looking at specific time frames in specific areas of town. So far, we have not been able to corroborate it.
So it looks like they're looking for an actual stalker, a physical stalker. It was my understanding that there was potentially somebody online that I heard that through the grapevine, but I couldn't corroborate that. So he's talking about physically stalking her as opposed to online stalking. So I don't know if that's the differences, but let's see if he addresses the online stuff.
But we're not done looking into that piece of information.
Dan Springer, Fox News. If I can get Captain Lanier. Sir, why not tell the public who the target was? You've said that this was a targeted attack. Why not tell the public who was targeted? If it was multiple people, it would go a long ways to telling the public what you're looking for and who you're looking for, the type of person you're looking for. Why not do that to alleviate some of the fears out there in the community?
Well, first and foremost, we have the integrity of the investigation to preserve. And we feel like that information is integral to us and how we conduct our investigation.
So he's explaining that basically if they come out, it could blow their whole case. I have to most likely agree with that statement. I honestly, in the reality of this, I think that this law enforcement body has been the most transparent and has given us the absolute most information we've had in a high profile case such as this in a very, very long time. So again, I respect what they're doing here. They are working, but it will come back to, they have an idea who it is, and are they looking at low hanging fruit to get this psychopath off the streets? But if we don't know who it is and they haven't named, it's not like they're coming out and naming a suspect like Police Chief Hadley did and just not making an arrest after this despicable act has transpired. They're still saying, we don't know who it is. Nobody's been arrested. No suspects have been named, yada, yada, yada. So that's kind of the difference. But I have to be honest with you. This, and I don't know, I'm pretty sure at least the majority of the audience will agree that we have never had this many cleared people given to us in a case such as this. So we'll get back to it. I believe that they have been definitely, without a doubt, very transparent. They've given us a lot of information. It's not the information we want to have, but they definitely have, outside of just telling us who it is, right?
Releasing that to the public may or may not flood us with a lot of information that's not relevant or specific to what we're looking at. So we do want more information, but we don't want to put our investigation in jeopardy by releasing what we have. There's always a balance between what you're willing to release versus what you're trying to gather. We told the public very clearly from the beginning that we're looking for a knife.
The problem is, even with this knife, this whole knife situation, they're saying a fixed blade knife. They're not telling us that this is a military style fixed blade knife. They're saying a fixed blade knife. What is a fixed blade knife? It could be a steak knife. A steak knife is a fixed blade knife. That's not really giving us a whole lot of information. And even if it is a military style knife in this area in Idaho, that's not uncommon. It may be uncommon in, say, New York City, but out in Idaho, it's a very common knife to have. People wear them on their belts. It's not something that. Remember when we talked about this? Seemed like it just happened. It didn't feel. In my opinion, it didn't feel like it was planned. The reason why I felt like I changed my position on that is because of the knife that's involved. But when I was doing my research, I realized out here in Idaho, they sell a lot of these knives. People do wear them. They wear them on their belts and things like that. So maybe this guy didn't even bring this knife in preparation of doing this crime. He could have just had it on him at the time and just went off. But again, the people were sleeping, so that doesn't really fit based upon what law enforcement is saying, but it is giving a different perspective.
We told the public very clearly from the beginning that we believe it was a targeted attack. I mean, to be honest, you're going to have to trust us on that at this point, because we're not going to release why we think that.
So they're asking, and I do trust them. I do trust this outfit. I think, and I've said that from the beginning, that I believe they know who, what, when, where, and they're just collecting the evidence to put that person behind bars. I truly believe that. I trust that. When he tells us that we need to trust him, I think we should trust him.
Lauren Patterson, Northwest Public Broadcasting. I see that the FBI set up a special web page just to collect digital information. I'm also curious if any of the investigators can speak to this. Curious if the Wi-Fi hotspot has been tapped at all. It's possible if the suspect had their phone on them, it may have pinged off the Wi-Fi in the residence. Has that been checked on at all?
As I stated, our investigation is looking at every avenue of every piece of evidence that we can.
I wonder if that made a light bulb go off, or if they did check the Wi-Fi. I'm sorry. Sometimes when questions are brought up, because we all know that they're going to be pinging the towers and things of that nature, but sometimes the most obvious stuff, is overlooked because you're looking at such more sophisticated things, if that makes sense. So I'm interested if they did.
The FBI has given us a website for any downloads of video or anything. So we ask people, if you have any of that, to send it to us, please.
Thank you. Natasha Chen, CNN. I have a couple of questions here. One, in many homicide cases, the first hours, the first days are so incredibly crucial. Now that we're moving into a window that's further and further away from the incident, does that concern you about the ability to arrest a suspect, or do you have information that you simply can't share with us that makes you confident that you're close to solving this?
I'm going to have the Colonel step up and address that, please.
Well, thank you for the question, and I would like to address it a little more globally than specifically, a little more globally here. Yesterday, as time goes on, I mean, we're time past the initial calls for service and the initial crime. However, we also, as time goes on, are able to process the forensics evidence, any forensics evidence that we may have collected, and so that helps us. And we're also able to process the tips that continue to come in, which may help us. And so, while time in one respect is not beneficial, in another respect it is, because it helps provide us with that whole picture with all of the information that we're gathering, whether it's evidence or tips or any other information that we're gathering. It may help us to provide a clearer picture, and so it may help answer those questions that we're seeking as well.
Hi, Angela Palermo, Idaho Statesman. I was wondering if there's any evidence that suggests the attacker visited the first floor where the two surviving roommates were.
That information will not be released at this time. It's part of our investigation, and as we stated earlier, there's many things that are involved in an investigation that we will release and things we won't.
Good afternoon, Ashley Soriano, Fox News. I have two questions. Have you considered the possibility of a murder-suicide? Is that something that you guys are considering right now?
This was interesting because, it is something that people have brought up. They have brought up, is it possible, maybe because they're not giving us any information, maybe it was a murder-suicide type of situation. Let's listen to the answer.
That question has been asked previously, not at a press conference. It's certainly something that we looked at in the early part of the investigation. It's not something that we're looking at this time.
So no suicide. It was somebody, it was targeted, and it come from outside of the home.
And I know some of the investigators' vehicles and police vehicles are coming in and out of the driveway. Do you think that potentially could disturb any tire marks or other evidence?
Yeah, so the question has been asked about why did the crime scene tape expand, and that's not uncommon. When the first officers arrived, they tried to cordon off what they thought was important. We immediately expanded that when the investigators got there to process the scene. And logically, as this progresses, and you've seen this through our press releases, we have expanded it to several areas of the city and have in fact canvassed entire neighborhoods. So we try very, very hard to uncover every single bit of evidence possible in an area before we move on to the next area.
So that was just explain why they changed the boundaries and the evidence collecting process. I saw Arkansas in here, and I just wanted to give Arkansas a big shout out. Happy birthday. I heard it was your birthday, so happy gobble gobble day and happy birthday.
So yes, we've looked at everything that we think we need to look at in and around the crime scene at this point. Well, it's a gravel parking area, so it would be hard to say that.
How are you folks holding up? How are your detectives and officers holding up? And Chief, you mentioned that detectives are prepared to work tomorrow on Thanksgiving. So is the expectation that they will be?
That is correct. We're going to have many detectives and agents working.
It ain't Chatham County and Mascow, Idaho.
This incident. Our people are dedicated. Our people
Just saying.
care about this community. Our people want to ensure the community.
Well, let's listen to that again. Why are they doing it?
We're here to get a result.
Why are they doing it? I just heard.
Dedicated. Our people care about this community.
Oh, care about the community. That's what it takes to work weekends and through holidays to solve a case. Got it. Got it.
Our people want to ensure the community that we're here to bring safety, and we're here to get a resolve on this. So we will continue to push through. We'll give people time off as they need it, and we will continue to take care of them. But we're gonna keep pushing on this until we come to a conclusion.
Chris Mitchell, KLEW. Is there any plans to increase security for the Apple Cup on Friday?
I can't speak to what's going on in the state of Washington. I can only speak to what we're doing here on the campus of the University of Idaho in concert with President Green and his team. We are absolutely, with the Idaho State Police and the Mascow Police Department, we are 100% dedicated to making sure that this continues to be a safe place for students to do what students need to do. And so that's why we have so many uniformed troopers here that aren't necessarily assisting with the investigation, but rather here to help with the campus security. And President Green and his team have been fantastic in helping to strike that balance to make sure that we have law enforcement resources here. So while I can't speak what's going on anywhere else, I can tell you at the University of Idaho, we have a lot of state troopers and a severe increase of state troopers and Mascow police officers here, both on campus as well as throughout the community.
So, the state police has really beefed up security on campus so their students have the feel safe. You got to think something like this rocked this entire community. It made people, from what I could gather of Mascow, it's not a crime-ridden area. It's a place that has very little crime. So, people's sense of security and safety has always been elevated in that community because they've had no reason to fear their safety or security. And now with this happening and somebody being loose that did such a heinous act, you got to think, yeah, it rocked their boat.
John Capel, ABC News. Are investigators looking at any possible connection to an unsolved double stabbing in the Salem, Oregon area about a year and a half ago? Specifically, 2 people stabbed in their home in the middle of the night, long knife, no suspect at this point.
This was very interesting because there was a couple creators that did bring up this incident, and I was very curious about it, but I still don't believe this is but it could be. I've been wrong many times before. This could be something that's connected, but I found his comment or his response a little odd. Check it out.
One died, one survived.
I think we're looking at every avenue, and we have other agencies reaching out to us with other cases.
So there are actually other agencies that obviously believe that this could potentially be connected with another case. That doesn't mean it is. It doesn't mean it is. But there are communications where other law enforcement agencies are reaching out to check those similarities. I thought that was it was eerie for me to hear that. I want you guys to listen to it again. But eerie. That's the best way I can describe it.
And stuff that we have. No, physically, 2 people stabbed in their home in the middle of the night. Long knife. No suspect at this point. One died, one survived.
I think we're looking at every avenue, and we have other agencies reaching out to us with other cases and stuff that we are doing follow up on, and we will continue to follow up on those.
Are you aware of that case?
I actually had a tip come in on that case, and I forwarded it to our tip line.
Okay. One more question. Can you confirm the bodies have been released to the families or are being so released today?
I believe they have been released to the family, and I know that I believe one of them has already had a funeral.
We never heard. Does anybody know which one had a funeral? Because they keep saying one of the 4 had a funeral, but I didn't hear who it was, or I missed it, or I missed it altogether. They said it, but I just didn't hear it or got busy, just got sidetracked. Ethan. Okay. All right. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. I wonder why he was the first. Yeah, everybody's saying Ethan. So yeah, that's okay. Thank you guys.
Destiny Martin with the LCSC Pathfinder. Can you lend any insights into the possibility that the murder weapon is linked to the ROTC program?
There it is.
And also you mentioned that the analysis unit is here. Will we be able to hear anything from them about a working profile they possibly have? And on that note, have you guys ruled out the possibility that the killer might be a female?
So we look at every avenue. We're looking at every group of people. Like I said early in our first press conference, we're not going to let any stone go unturned. I believe, can you just clarify your second portion of that question? Oh, the BAU, sorry.
Yes, I would like to know if the BAU has a working profile, because you look at victimology. Sure. Are you able to tell us who was killed first on the time of death, so that we may understand if it was a targeted attack, it would make the most sense if they killed one of the roommates first, and then maybe the other 2. I know
Sure.
This is not speculation. I'm getting off topic. My question is, are you guys looking at a working profile? Have they come up with anything new regarding the motive or intentions of the killer or killers?
The BAU unit is working diligently to do what they do. Will that be provided? I'm sure that may be provided once the conclusion of this case comes together. But they are continually taking in information, reading reports, and gathering information for that.
Good afternoon, Chief. Amanda Rowley with Crime 2. Seeing some speculation with some of the cars being searched this past week. Wonder if you can squash some of the rumors and that speculation. Is there anything you can share specifically on the white car out front, and then a follow-up for the university?
So I'll have Captain Lanier go ahead and come up with that.
Thank you.
Well, we have looked at a lot of different vehicles. I'm assuming you're referring to the vehicles that were in the parking lot at the time Yeah, so some of those vehicles belonged to the victims, and some belonged to other people in the house. And so for us, that's part of the crime scene. As I mentioned earlier, the crime scene was expanded out through the parking lot. So we wanted to make sure that we looked at those prior to releasing the crime scene. It was part of the initial investigation that night.
Thank you. And for the university, is there any additional information at this time that you can offer about the candlelight vigil, maybe what we can expect from that? And then any other information you can provide about that ask of the community to light the night on November 30th?
Thank you for that. I'm going to turn this over to Blaine Eccles at this point. He's actually planning the whole
Good afternoon. I'm Blaine Eccles, Dean of Students. The vigil is going to be hosted next Wednesday, November 30th at 5 p.m. We have it scheduled for the administration lawn at the moment. We're going to make a final determination on location early next week, just because we're waiting for the weather window to get closer, so we feel comfortable that that's where it will be located. We're anticipating a large turnout of community members as well as university members, students, faculty, and staff at that particular event. And all of the families have been invited to join us if they so wish from that aspect of it. The response has just been absolutely beautiful and overwhelming to the love that has been provided to the institution as well as the family members. The Light the Night event that you're talking about, while I don't have a lot of details on that, is set to coincide at the same time, just so that people that can't be here in person as part of the vigil are going to be able to participate remotely as well. The vigil will be live streamed, and it's safe to say that the Vandal family is going to unite and come together to support the families in the darkest moments of their life, quite frankly.
So I'm going to go ahead and take two more questions, okay?
Jordan Smith, KXLY. At this point in time, do investigators know which entrance the suspect used to enter the residence? If this was someone who might have known the door code at the front or maybe used the back door?
Once again, that's part of our investigation. We're not going to release that information this time. Thank you.
Noah Baltimore, News 8. You said this was a targeted event. You won't tell us why they were targeted. What should students do to prevent being targeted in the future?
Well, that's a great question, especially in light of what just happened. If you would have asked us 9 days ago, we would have had probably a different answer. Moscow's always been a very safe community. In light of this, and maybe we should always look at it this way, vigilance, always traveling in pairs, knowing where you're going, telling someone when you arrive, and just that kind of general awareness. Maybe we should, as a community, have always been doing that. You know, in some ways, this took our innocence. I would tell students that you need to stay with a friend. I know that the university staff is looking at different options to increase some of the safety on campus and providing certain options to students. So, yeah, going forward, there's a lot of things that maybe we wish we would have done before, but we need to start doing now.
So I'm going to go ahead and close, but what we do want to let our community know that we do care. We do want to provide a safe environment. We will continue to work hard, and we'll continue to do everything we can. We want people to be vigilant. We want people to report anything suspicious to us and let us get there and handle it. But we are here to provide that safety. So I want to thank you today for coming, and I appreciate your questions.
All right, folks. So there we had it. We went over the press conference in its entirety. I did some commentary throughout it. Definitely some information there. I'm going to go through some of the stuff I starred while this was going on. And we're just going to have a brief discussion on them, and then I'll open up the panel, let you guys come up for a little bit and say hi. What does this say? Okay. For my family and friends that are out there watching me live this Thanksgiving, just a big shout out to you guys, and happy Thanksgiving. So you guys can see I'm home working and keeping people entertained this beautiful, beautiful Thursday as they cook their turkeys and make those scrumptious side dishes. Yum, yum. So let's just get here. Betty, do you think the killer will go to the vigil, or do you think he's long, long gone? Honestly, this is a two-part answer. While I truly, if these people knew this person and knew them well, this person would have to go to the vigil. The absence of this person at the vigil would be a red flag. If this is a person that laid in wait, wasn't known to these people, yeah, might be a face in the crowd. But again, may also have since long gone. The possibility of somebody showing up at the vigil that was responsible are high. They are high. But I don't know if this person or this person's personality would show up or not. I don't know. But yes, it is common. Let's see. Susie Sue says, I used to process crime scene slides for the police department here. I can imagine how it looked. Yeah, I can't. It had to have been horrible. It had to have been horrible. I'm starting to believe it was a girl who done this from the circle or rival sorority girls. I get it, but I'm not there with the female because of the super athletic man that was killed. I think a sorority girl would have got knocked the F out. I'm sorry. I could be wrong, but this does not feel like a woman to me. I'm not getting those vibes whatsoever. But again, who knows? It is a classic whodunit. That's just my opinion. But the only reason why I come to that, because we've talked about a female being responsible before. The only reason why I feel that it's a man is it's kind of it's two part. It's because there was a man that lost his life, and it would take a strong person, even with the person sleeping, to do that. Now, I've already read in here, and I know I starred a comment that we will be getting to, that it is possible that Ethan, he was taken out early on. If he was the surprise attack, it could be, the surprise itself could have disabled him, where it could be a female, but the knife that's used is more in line with something that I would equate to a man as opposed to a woman. Not being sexist or anything, but that's just my opinion. Sexism has nothing to do with statistics and things of that nature. But to me, this feels like a guy. This feels really like a guy. So to me. Let me put this back. Let me put this up here. Most of the victims, the girls were from Cordaline, Idaho, which is a distance from Mascow. I don't know where that is. Did all the girls, did even Xana and the two girls, did they know each other prior to college? Because sometimes, like, I knew that Maddie and Kaylee were best friends and have been best friends since they were children and things of that nature. But did the other, like Ethan and Xana, did they know each other before going to this? Did they request to be in the same, house? What was the relationship between the other two victims and Maddie and Kaylee? I'm curious about that, because if they're from the same area, then maybe they knew each other prior to going there. And if they did, what does that mean? Could that be a clue? I don't know. Nana of 7 says, Caitlin, back when I had classes 30 years ago, our one teacher told us to take pictures of crowds outside or any gathering. Most of the time, the suspect is in the crowd. I don't know if that still applies. If they're there, I definitely recommend people taking photos of everything, everybody in the crowd. And it wouldn't be surprising to me that if at this candlelight vigil that there would be undercover officers in the crowd as well, taking videography of what's going on there. That wouldn't surprise me one bit, to be honest with you. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but I would presume that that would be. And the reason why I started this one is because I was meaning to say and got sidetracked this morning. The season is back. It's back, baby. And I got 0 calorie, of course, because one thing I like is, like, I drink so much. I drink more than I eat. So before I lost a lot of weight, I realized right at that time that I was drinking a lot of calories. So now I try to have my drinks 0 calorie, if at all possible. Do I cheat? Yes, I cheat. I have a Dr. Pepper. I have a Coca-Cola. I have sweet tea. You know, I'm trying. It's progress, not perfection here in this house. But I love Starbucks peppermint mocha, and I actually went and got a peppermint mocha about 2 weeks ago. Oh, I love it. But when I look at it and see that it's almost 600 calories, I decide to go to the store. I don't mind drinking Starbucks. Miss Robin's been keeping me fat all year long, right? So, cheers, Coffee Club. Happy Thanksgiving. Ethan sent money to Jack K at 3 a.m. from a Venmo app. Why? Great question, Caroline. I don't know, because this is up until today, this is the first I heard about a Venmo app or cash transaction between Ethan and Jack. How did we learn of that information? That hasn't been released from law enforcement, and just curious who has that information and how can we vet it? Because that is interesting details. And if it is fact, I want to make sure that it is known as fact instead of speculation or rumor. So if that is true and we can find out how that was, how people know that, I'd greatly appreciate that, because that, I wonder why. Could it have been, it could have been that somebody covered a cost for somebody and they needed to repay back, the money. Maybe they went out drinking and he's like, "Hey, bro, you owe me your bar tab." It's like, "Oh, shoot, here, hold on." One of those. I mean, I don't know. I'm speculating. But I'd like to. That's interesting. I definitely would like to know a little more about that. I agree with you, BHB. While the presser didn't provide many answers, it did show me the amount of transparency we have with this LE. Also, a better understanding of the process they are doing and going through. Yeah, no, this has been, and I think it's because it's the college and the university rather. People are scared. Parents are terrified. Parents send these kids to school and spend tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars for their children to get their education. So something like this could cause financial harm to that university and that state collectively. So yeah, they've been, I don't know if that's the reason why they've been so transparent, but they have been ultra transparent here. I mean, we cannot, out of all law enforcement that we've been dealing with, at least for the last year, this has by far been the absolute most transparent case that I have seen so far. I mean, they're clearing people to the public. They're constantly updating their press releases to the media. They're constantly keeping everybody apprised of everything that they can. I respect that. I do respect that. I respect that immensely because, we don't get that all the time. And to hear law enforcement working with people, understanding their concern, understanding their fears, and addressing that by way of communication, that's key. It truly, for me, that's key. Has anyone thought about the jealousy angle? Kaylee just bought a brand new Range Rover the day prior. got a high-paying job in tech in Austin, and was a month from graduating. Yeah, it could be just like that. It absolutely could be. Maybe she got the job promotion or the job that other people at that school were gunning for, and yes, somebody that has worked their tail end off, and not, they're smart, but they got problems. I mean, there's a lot of smart people that have some delusional problems. And could it be something like that? Yes. That would be that would be targeted. And especially rolling in with a Range Rover, that could have put somebody over the edge. Like, that should have been mine. Possessive. That's right up the alley of who we're looking for. So yeah, a great perspective. Thank you. But yeah, absolutely. Killer could be connected to the 2021 two deaths. I heard, we're going to go through the press conferences, but there's a couple things that I did want to touch on. I'm not sure about that, but they did say they turned the lead over, but I can't remember if he kind of didn't think it would be connected or not, but I'll have to go back and review the press conference again, because I just don't know the answer to that. Apparently, Ethan was the first to die as well. How did we know that, Snow? I'm just curious, because that could definitely be a clue. Take the guy out first. That would also identify that this person knew who was in the home, therefore being a lot closer than just being a serial killer. There is that possibility. Who would have known that Ethan was going to be in that house that night? Again, might be a clue, might not, might just be a coincidence, right? But curious as to how we know. I mean, whether Ethan died first, last, second, whatever. First, I think if he died first, that would be, that might be a clue. It really might be a clue. I am Team Summer. That's why I think the skin dog had something to do with it. Very common. Yeah, for a serial killer, you're right, Snow. It is very common, but I can tell you that law enforcement has excluded that dog skinning as any connection to this case whatsoever. They've excluded that. I think he may know these girls or group and was dismissed by them, or maybe they embarrassed this person, someone who envies their college lifestyle. He's a loner and older. Just Samantha, that's a possibility, and it dovetails right into that other comment about how this might be jealousy. She just got a Range Rover. So yeah, there's that possibility of that as well. Definitely good, great perspective, guys. Lots, you guys are picking up on a lot. Very nice, very nice. Bree says, I just don't foresee the suspect being female. Ethan was a somewhat big guy. Yes, you're correct. It's hard and athletic. He's agile. It just doesn't fit, in my opinion, of being a girl. It's hard to think he wouldn't have been able to, overthrow a girl unless he was attacked and his attack was instantly fatal. Exactly. And not only that, but think about how much, even when that first thing, he's going to automatically I would think that they would all almost be defensive, unless somebody was like just completely, inebriated and couldn't move. But it seems like even after, the first, you'd wake up instantly in some agony and pain and be wrestling and stuff until it was over. And God, it's just, whew. But yeah, that's what, if it was all girls in that house, yeah, I would think, but with this guy, and his parents let us know how athletic he was. We don't know why or when he met his demise, or if he was truly, in fact, injured first, but it would say a lot. And if he was injured first, and he wasn't normally there staying the night, then two things can come of that revelation. One, is that somebody saw them that night. So it'd be somebody that they knew, and not only just somebody that they knew, but somebody that they knew and talked to that evening that knew he was there and targeted him as the first to go to get to the main person. Because I still feel like that Ethan and Zana were the collateral damage. I don't know why I'm feeling that way, even though I don't really have anything concrete or conclusive to push me that way. It's kind of almost this gut thing I've got going on. I think it's very smart of Ellie to keep an open mind about this case. Stalkers have been mentioned. A guy in the area brandishing a knife a few months ago. Definitely hope they are checking everything. It sounds like they are. That's the good news. It sounds like they are. And not only are they checking everything, they are communicating that to the public. And that's just very welcoming to hear. And I know it has to do because everybody in that area is terrified. I mean, this is horrific. Think about it. I mean, somebody killed 4 young people with a knife, one of the most brutal attacks you can possibly have. And that's the way. And this is scary. I would be, terrified, quite frankly. And why is there no reward? And the reason why I starred yours is because that is a great question. Why is there no reward? And I think that that's because they know exactly who it is. If they didn't know who it was, then maybe they wouldn't. They would have a reward for any information leading to the arrest of so and so. But even this far out, I mean, we're at the 24th, so it's been 11 days since this attack was carried out. 11 days. And no reward yet. So it sounds like that they are on something. And again, I don't know if that's 100% true. While I was reading those comments that I posted, I didn't see any of your comments because it was on a different side of the screen. So if I missed anything, I do apologize. You might want to repost it. I'm watching the screen now. Remember the crazy YouTuber chick stabbed her boyfriend and he died quickly? Yeah. That was wasn't that trainer lady, the one that's fans only or something? Also keep my alarm on when I'm at home. Yeah. Praying they find these killers soon. Absolutely. All right, guys. So we're through it. I'm just going to open the phone lines. I'm not going to open the phone lines. I'm going to open up the panel to those that would like to come up. I'm just going to take about a half hour or so and chat with you guys. And then I'm going to get off for a little bit, and then we'll be back later this afternoon into the evening. I'll probably come on several times today to keep everybody kind of company throughout the day, and we'll see how that goes. Yes, but to make Sword of Spirit says yes, but to make a kill strike with a knife would be hard for a female. Potentially. I mean, unless they're trained. I mean, But that ROTC question was, a great question to ask. Give me just a second. Oh, I didn't see all these little super chats. I'm sorry. Everyone turn your scales back 10 pounds today. Oh my gosh, how did I miss all these? Oh, sorry, guys. I'm horrible. I'm on the other side. Oh, Jackie, thank you. I love it. And it's got my chair. Nice. Oh, that was so sweet, guys. Thanks so much. God bless you. God bless you. I just wanted to pin the StreamYard up to the top of the chat so it's easier for everybody to get to it. We're just going to take, like I said, about 30 minutes to discuss anything you really want to. If you want to discuss, I see people giving some best practices, pepper spray and things like that. If you guys have something that's going to help the community abroad, come up here and say. If you have any questions about any of the cases that we're covering, if you want to tell us your best, stuffing recipe, come up here and tell us. It's Thanksgiving, y'all. But I know you probably won't, and here's why, because many of you guys are listening to me while you guys got your hands in a bunch of food. Who knows? I bet you with 800 people in this chat, when I said call in or come on chat, somebody had their hand up the wrong end of a turkey. I bet you. Hey, Rick.
How you doing?
Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, how are you doing today?
A little bit depressed, but I got my son a suit for today.
Oh, that's so cute. Yeah, I suffer from seasonal depression too. I don't know where it comes from. I really don't have a whole lot to be depressed about, but it's just the holidays, you know. I think it has a lot to do with the fact that I don't talk to my father very much, and it just kind of sucks because he used to always be at the Thanksgivings, the Christmases, and everything else like that. So it is what it is.
It's the loss of my grandma a few years back, about 3 years ago. It's been eating at me because it was in November, right before Thanksgiving. I really miss my grandma.
Yeah, yeah. But I had Thanksgiving last night. I made myself a turkey. I made myself fresh mashed potatoes. I made gravy from scratch. I cheated. I have to be honest with you. I cheated on the pumpkin pie. I bought the pumpkin pie. And I cheated on the stuffing. I bought box stuffing. But everything else was made from love to my belly.
Well, everything was made at home, right? So therefore it's homemade.
There you go. There you go.
I shaved and cut my hair and.
Gotcha. I wasn't, to be honest with you, I washed my hair and I didn't even style it. It's just kind of bleh.
You're naturally gorgeous.
Thank you.
It's a natural thing.
Well, happy Thanksgiving. I'm going to go ahead and pull a few more people up here while they're in the backstage.
I just wanted to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving and tell everybody, I appreciate everybody being so kind to me.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, we're one big happy family over here for the most part.
But I'll sit back and be quiet if you don't mind.
All right, sure. Absolutely. Take care. Kimmy, you're up now.
Hi. So we can talk about anything or ask anything. Did you see the photo?
It depends. It depends on how personal we're going here. No, I'm just joking.
No, I'll be nice. The photo circulating of the box at the FBI in Savannah, Georgia, with the flag over it. Have you seen that?
No. Describe it to me again.
It says on the wall, Federal Bureau of Investigation, Savannah, Georgia, and it has what looks like a casket covered in a flag. Very small.
I did see a photo like that on shares, like a post that came across. I thought that was I mean.
Yes.
Okay,
so I was told it's a canine. An old picture of a canine.
It probably is.
So the flag thing, they wouldn't do that for a baby, right? That, to me, that's disrespectful.
Well, it's usually, those flags are usually reserved for military and law enforcement.
Right. So, since, as Rebel says, Zipperhead put that out, I mean, that's wrong.
Yeah. No, that baby, from my understanding, is still laying on a slab at the morgue, or at the whatever. Not even a slab. At the morgue. What is it? They take the bones off to I don't know, a bone doctor. The bones.
Because I would assume he's still in Quantico because they've got to do their testing.
There's going to be massive amounts of testing on him because he's bones. They got to determine a cause of death. I mean, I can't imagine this being quick.
Exactly.
Because if things aren't together, they got to put it together. I mean,
right. I mean, my son-in-law is an investigator. I know how they work, so I'm just thinking, why would you do that? Why? It's just wrong.
Well, let's look at this. I mean, they've been distasteful from the very beginning. I mean, does it really surprise any of us that this? I mean, that's why I say it's not even worth looking at anymore. It's not even worth looking under the hood, seeing what's going on, because it does is infuriate us. There's no purpose for it. It's counterproductive. It doesn't help anybody. All it does is just have people's names be brought up in YouTube, right? You do outlandish stuff, then everybody's talking about you, and I just feel like that is the case in this particular matter.
Well, I decided after all that, no more. I will never, ever be curious to see her stuff. They're such liars.
Yeah. People
And
are already starting to pass out that the babysitter, the neighbor, that Marissa gave her $5,000. You have got to be kidding me. Marissa, you know, she gave her a good chunk of money. I mean, $500 is a lot of money.
Right.
But I'm sorry, she didn't even have the cash to bail out Dolly Vision. Like she had the credit card. Don't get me wrong. I mean, she was getting him out. She was getting our boy out. But you know, for somebody to be walking around Savannah, Georgia, with $5K just cash on hand in a bag, like these people, I'm just like, what?
yeah, I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to be friends with Marissa. Holy cow. They
I
added
know. Mama needs
extra
some new
zero.
shoes. Marissa, feel bad for me. Me next.
But I just like, they add an extra zero. They say all this, and I'm like, I'm done. I'm totally
Right.
done. You put out the
Maybe
food.
that's the trick. That's what they're doing. They're adding an extra zero or two at the end. That's how they get all the big figures.
Well, I just want to say thanks for your honesty in what you do, because I can't handle the lies. I'm kind of gullible, I guess, in some ways. And so I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like all upset after seeing that picture. And then I start digging. It's like, no, there's no way.
That's why I said, you know, since I started tuning all of that out, like I won't even even my friends, they'll be like, did you see this? Did you see that? I'm like, no. I'm telling you, ever since I stopped watching all the garbage, especially about me,
Mm-hmm.
I don't question, I don't doubt, you know, like it works on the brain a little bit. I'm great now. Like I'm
Well,
good.
I'm joining you. So, but I appreciate
It's a life changer. I'm telling you, it's a life changer. If you had stress before, your stress it melts away. It's like 10,000 pounds lifted off your shoulders. Stop watching junk.
Okay. Well, I will. And thank you again. I really appreciate you.
No problem, Kimmy. Take care.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you, and God bless.
God bless you.
My girl Ruby, how are you doing, honey?
Oh, girl, I am like a zombie this morning.
I have been up since like 4 o'clock. I don't know how many people have been up, but I was actually chatting it up with Marissa this morning. That wee hours of morning.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I probably went to bed last night. Well, my pies didn't get done till 1 o'clock in the morning. So,
yeah.
And now my ex-sister-in-law's in there cooking, and I've got my sweet potatoes on the stove boiling, and
I cheated. Yeah, I don't know how. Yesterday was easy breezy for me for some reason. Like I wasn't stressed out or anything. I had like 2 lives. I cooked an entire meal. Why I decided I needed an entire meal that big, I have no earthly idea. But
I've done that before. I've just make myself a big old meal, and then like I don't want any of this.
Yeah, but I figured, you know what? I'll cut it up. I'll put it on. You know, I got plates and stuff. I'll put it in, and I'll stick it in the refrigerator. And then whenever I don't feel like cooking or I'm starving and want a good meal, I'll just go to the refrigerator, pop it in the microwave for a couple minutes, and I have a home cooked meal.
Yeah, no doubt.
With pumpkin pie.
Yeah, I made 2 peanut butter pies last night.
Yeah.
And then this morning I'm making a sweet potato casserole and a vegetable casserole. And then I made my cranberry jello salad molds yesterday, so everybody loves those and requests those. It's the one my grandmother used to make. So, but I was just,
What time's your dinner at?
We usually eat around noon or 1 o'clock.
Okay.
And I see all my family is gone. All my family has passed away. So all I have left are my daughters and son-in-law and granddaughter. Well, my youngest daughter and son-in-law live in Virginia Beach, and then my oldest daughter and granddaughter live here in Arkansas, about an hour away from me. So I come here and I spend the holidays now with my ex-in-laws, if you can imagine.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hey, you know what? The in-laws, when I got married to my ex-husband, his daughter's mom and her husband we used to do everything with them. They're not the in-laws, but they are the ex's ex-family, but we did that because we had the grandkids, and they didn't have necessarily the financial means to put on big parties and stuff like that. So we just invited them over to be with the grandkids and the kids, during that time.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I had a big family, but my mom and all her sisters and are gone, and Mama's gone, and I don't have a thing in common with my cousins, so
right.
I haven't even seen or spoke to any of them since I started. Since I bought my RV and left home, sold my house and left home, which was in 2017.
Yeah.
So, but about this Idaho 4 thing, and I have really gotten into this and really been trying to do my study, and so that I can discuss it and everything. And I have several theories about who it could possibly be and who was the target and whatnot. But last night on News Nation, they were Ashley Banfield was talking to some sleuthers. I guess the two people have a Facebook page for information. And when I heard that thing about the Venmo account, that really disturbed me. Like, let's just say, how can you get into my, which I don't even have a Venmo account.
Well,
All I have
I
is
do know
Cash App,
I do know how it happens. I've used that technique myself, so that must be what they did. So what they do is if you don't, like, my accounts are private. If when you set them up, it automatically defaults to a public. So basically, anybody can go to your account and see who's giving you money.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you can't. Sometimes you can see how much. Sometimes you can just see their name, but yeah.
I mean, that just feels a little invasive. I mean, I know that people are trying to solve a crime and whatnot, but it just feels invasive, almost like you can access my bank account.
Well,
I mean,
that's kind of why there's so many privacy settings, but you got to utilize the settings that they give you. If you don't utilize them, you can be open to people seeing what's going on behind your personal curtains. And I'm sorry, my business is my business.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm still old school though, and just now learning about all that kind of stuff. I mean, I didn't even get a Cash App until earlier this year. And so like I said, I'm kind of behind. I'm kind of behind on a lot of stuff, but yeah, that kind of weirded me out that the public was accessing their Venmo, Cash App cards and stuff.
Yeah. But again, that may be the way they had it set up. Maybe they didn't mind, because it was the college. I mean, who thinks anybody's going to go and look at your stuff? I mean, outside of you being on a creator on YouTube and people feeling like they are entitled to your entire life story, which they're not. But
yeah.
That who really goes through people's Venmo accounts? Like, nobody.
Right. I mean, I wouldn't have thought of that, but like I said, I'm new to all that stuff. Now, other things I'm a whiz at, as far as doing detective work and looking into someone's life and and looking at, trying to figure things out. I wish we knew. We're missing such a big key piece of evidence as the public,
Yeah.
and that is the location of the bodies. We can't see the crime scene. We can't see, if there's a blood trail. We can't
I can
tell
tell you
where.
we can definitely reason that there is definitely a blood trail somewhere. There is
Right.
no way that that person would have escaped that home without literally dripping with blood.
Right. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Even
But
if he
that's
was covered
something
from
that
head to
we.
toe with camouflage and gloves and everything, there's
Uh-huh.
still a blood trail.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Think back to Ron Goldman and Nicole Brown. That was
Let me bring.
a,
I'm gonna bring Kate. Kate
a
did.
mess.
I'm bringing you up. If you want to show your face, you can. If you want to put your emoji on, you can. I'm bringing you up now. Okay. Give me just a second, Ruby. Let me just
okay.
Just a moment. Hey, Kate, how are you? Hello? Give me just a second, Ruby.
Okay.
You'll need to turn me down in your background.
Hi.
Hi. Can you hear me? You'll need to turn me down in your background. Hi. Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's Thanksgiving.
Yes, it is. Happy Thanksgiving.
You too. I wanted to tell you the thing that we're most thankful for. You and Dolly and Marissa and Olivia, we are so thankful for you this year.
We're mother and daughter, and we watch you guys all together every day.
Aw, that's so sweet.
Yeah. So you're part of our family too.
Well, I'm so thankful. Oh, that's so sweet. That's why I came on Thanksgiving, as I just wanted everybody to be family, while you guys are cooking and all that other stuff, and just have some entertainment and a friend to chat with while you're in the kitchen.
Yep. Well, we think you're awesome.
Oh, well, thank you, Kate did. I appreciate it. God bless you and have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
You too. I'm going to make this short. Bless you.
Oh, thank you. God bless you too. Bye-bye. Oh, that's so sweet.
Uh-huh.
Wow, they are such sweet, sweet ladies. Sweet, sweet ladies. And I love, the fact that people are with us right now, while they're preparing their Thanksgiving. They're bringing us into their home. They're making us part of their family. And you guys are part of my extended family as well. So God bless each and every one of you, and just happy Thanksgiving. So Ruby, I am going to be going on with my day. Is there any other final words or any? I don't think you had your statement on this case yet. Let me give you a few minutes open, let you speak on this.
Well, this is just devastating, and the sooner this killer's caught, the better. I wish we maybe knew a little bit more about certain aspects of the case, so we would know maybe who was targeted. But I do understand the police keeping that close to the vest. They say it's very pertinent to the investigation, and I would imagine pertinent in figuring out who did this. Whoever the target was will be a big determination in figuring out who the killer is. I just feel so awful for these families and everything. My young daughter was in college. That's where she met my son-in-law. They met in a haunted house in the clown room, and they've been happily married ever since. And Harley joined the Navy, and but something like that would just terrify me.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
as a parent.
to see something like this.
Um,
Not only that, but we also forget the young adults that had to see this gruesome scene. That
oh God, yes, those other
friends,
roommates
people that
and
they just seen the day before, said goodnight with
mhm,
the night before. I mean,
mhm.
I can't imagine how much of a devastating impact this had on them.
Oh yeah, a lot of people are making a big deal about them calling friends before they called 911. I don't think that there was anything malicious behind that. What I think is that, these are young girls, 20, 21 years old. They don't want their friends to get in trouble for being drunk, or anything like that. So they're trying to figure out, okay, is so and so passed out? She's not waking up. And maybe it was a situation where one of them you couldn't see the blood or the wounds, or maybe they hadn't turned the light on yet or something.
That
We
may
don't
be a
know.
possibility. College students have blackout curtains. I know because I purchased them for my little sister.
Mhm.
You can't see a damn thing even when it's bright outside.
Yeah. And so, them trying to figure out if somebody's just passed out or something's worse, they gonna call in, hey, come over here and look at so and so, I can't tell if she's passed out or she's dead or I mean, it makes sense, and these are young girls. So
Yeah.
a lot of people are making a big deal about that, but it's just harm. I really feel that it's just harmless kids, not, you don't want to automatically call the police or call an ambulance for your friend who's
I think it's
passed
more
out
probable that
drunk.
it's dark in there as opposed to them, not wanting to get anybody in trouble, because I don't even want to begin to imagine what that scene looked like. And
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? I don't think they would have been able to mistaken that of all scenes, that was
Mhm.
the one that they wouldn't be able to mistake, was absolutely horrific in nature. And it is just, so sad. What do you think about the lack of anybody diving into, or at least appearing to dive into, any of Maddie's background? We're talking about her boyfriend, Jake. He hasn't even been brought up, which was surprising. It seems like law enforcement isn't really trying to bring him up. They've cleared Jack, which was Kaylee's boyfriend, or, the one that she had a break with. But, for all intents and purposes, her boyfriend. Why do you think that Maddie's parents aren't coming out for Jake like Kaylee's parents came out for Jack?
I don't know. Maybe they are just more reserved people. I know I did find out about Jack, that she had a boyfriend, and his name was Jack and everything. And from what I read, he's devastated. He's just like Jake. He's devastated.
I haven't heard anything about
So
outside of Jake's mom, which is from what I'm gathering, a psychologist of some sort, some well-to-do lady, and she's so far been the only one that has come out in support of her son. I just thought, I don't know. I just found that to be odd.
yeah. Well, some people, just want to keep their anonymity down as much as possible, or because they're just reserved. They don't want to be, come out in the open to be harassed and whatnot. I mean, there's a multitude of reasons. But I don't know. I don't know anything about him, so or anything about their relationship.
I just find that odd with all of our sleuths, on YouTube, why we're not hearing more about you know, the relationship between Ethan and Zaina, and because Zaina hasn't really, her family hasn't come out or spoken out or anything like that either.
Her dad did. Her dad did.
So now the only parents that really haven't come out and spoken again is Maddie's family.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think that's a clue of some sort.
Yeah. You know, maybe they're letting the family know more than they are the public, because they've questioned them more, you know.
Yeah.
It's just so hard to tell. That's why I wish there's so many big key pieces of the story that we as
We're
the
just not
public
connected.
don't.
I feel like something's right in front of our face that we're all missing.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah. I still believe law enforcement's got it, but I feel like something
Oh
is
yeah.
right
Oh
there
yeah.
in front of our face, and we can't see it. We're, you know, when you're looking in a direction and somebody's like, well, you're staring right at me. It's like, I didn't even see you.
Oh, I know.
It's one of those situations.
You know, those girls were talking on News Nation about, you know, different theories and like, what if y'all got it backwards? What if Zaina and Ethan were the targets and instead of Kaylee and Maddie? And
yeah, but you know what? Why I don't think that they were the target is because I feel like if they were the target, they would have stopped on the second floor.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
they didn't. They proceeded to the third floor. And
Right.
that's what makes me feel like it was one of the people on the top floor that was truly the target of this attack. And you know, we've already discussed Kaylee. And we've already talked about her boyfriend. There's still another worry box I have is that her and her boyfriend did have a break. Was there any other guy? You know, I know it's an uncomfortable thought for, you know, Kaylee's family and Jack, but was there somebody there that knew she was going back to Jack and may have had a huge problem with that? And
oh yeah, makes a lot of sense. You know, I tend to believe that Maddie and Kaylee were the target, and I tend to think that they ran across whoever killed them that night, either at the club or at the grub truck. Somewhere that night they ran across the person who ended up killing them.
Yeah. And then the other thing is that's the, you know, the break, you know, was there anybody in either one of their lives during that break?
Yeah, exactly.
But the other thing is obviously Maddie. That just seems to me the one person in this whole thing that nobody's really law enforcement's not really taught. It's almost like out of sight, out of mind type of strategy for this. And you know, I still listen to the chief saying, you know, it's not what it almost what's not being shown or not being told is equally as important as what is being shown and what is being told. And it's like this it's deafening how silent Maddie in her name and in her past is being right now.
Yeah, that is true. I and with no SA involved, and the brutality of it, the type of weapon that was used.
Yeah.
This guy was probably had some, you know, background in hunting and stuff.
Anybody in Idaho that lives there has a background in hunting and stuff.
Right.
This particular knife that we're all seeing, you know, that military type of K-bar knife or, you know, hunting knife. This is what people don't realize is that what's making it so hard is this is such a common knife that everybody carries in that particular area of the country.
Yeah. But whoever did this was enraged. You know, this wasn't about sex. This wasn't about, you know, like lovers quarrel or this was rage.
But then we
This
have to
was
look at what would make
somebody that somebody that one of them just really pissed off.
Yeah. But it could go back to the jealousy thing. You know, some people brought up the thing that, you know, Kaylee just scored this huge job. She just bought herself a Range Rover. I mean, people that may have thought they worked harder, they should have gotten that. It should have been theirs. You know, there's that aspect of it that, you know, we're looking at it as a crime of passion, such as a boyfriend, girlfriend. But what if this is just another jealous classmate, like somebody else had mentioned earlier?
Yeah, you know, I would definitely want to know all of them's day-to-day routines. I would want to know what classes they're taking, who's in those classes. You know, speak with those teachers, get a general vibe of the class. You know, have you got anybody that stands out?
Yeah.
I
have a feeling that their friends have an
their
idea.
their jobs that they work at, their co-workers, any patrons that regular the place, you know, that might stand out, because people will fixate on someone.
Yes, we know.
And they will develop, you know, this full-blown relationship.
Unhealthy obsession is the
You know,
word.
I covered the Travis Reinking trial, and if you know anything about that, he was obsessed with Taylor Swift. He and Taylor Swift were getting married, and just, you know, he was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Yeah, there's some sick
But
puppies out there, no doubt.
you know, and you just don't know who these people are.
Right.
You just don't know who these people are.
Yeah.
And that's so scary.
Yeah. All right, hon. Well, I'm going to wrap up. We're over our 2 hours.
Okay.
I'm going to relax, and I'll be back.
Yeah, I gotta get in here. They're hollering at me. Get your butt up. My ex-sister-in-law, my daughter, and they're hollering at me, want me to come in there.
There you go. Go spend some time with family, and I'll see you later this afternoon.
Okie doke. Take care, Andrea. Everybody have a good day and happy Thanksgiving.
Absolutely. Likewise, you as well.
Okay. Bye-bye, y'all.
Bye-bye. So our friend Ruby, we had a lot of great people come up, a lot of great perspectives. You know, there are still a lot of theories around. Before I get off here, let's just see if there's any other information that may have come out in the last day, 24 hours or so. And it doesn't look like it. It looks like the last update on this was from the 22nd, which we did cover at that time. Let me get this over here so I can pull it up. Let me make sure. I think this might have been the one about the dog. Oh, and for those, I saw somebody was asking, did the dog survive? Yes, the dog did survive. They did find the dog. The dog was unharmed. But you know what? We don't know if the assailant got bit by the dog. Jeez, Louise, thank you. Excuse me, got bit by the dog. There is a possibility that this person has a dog bite. Let's see here. This is okay. So this press conference was related to the stalker and the fact that they have not located. So that was the last one. We had the one that clarified the 911 call, the other one that clarified the dog, and this one is clarifying the stalker. We have covered all those. If you guys would like to, we've been covering this case extensively. You can go back to the other lives that I've done specifically on this case to get information about the background of this case, you know, what's going on, who's been excluded. You know, we've been covering it and we will continue to do so. But guys, I want you to have an amazing Thanksgiving with your family. I will be back later this afternoon. I don't have a specific time on when I'm coming back, but I will be back this afternoon to say hi to the afternoon group, right? The afternoon crew and to the evening crew. So I know many of you guys are going to be busy, and just know I will be off and on throughout the day. So if you are lonely and you want to see one of us, I'm sure we've got a whole group of people that are content creators that are covering cases throughout YouTube that will be on today. Just go over there, hit the live button. There's at the top when you're on your home screen, you can go up there and it'll show you all the lives that are going on throughout the day. Utilize that for your advantage if you guys just need some entertainment. And until then, don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something, because an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.